Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Tommy Krysan is over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood with us today on this Friday morning edition of Sports Shorts Daily. Hope everybody's having a great one out there. Today on Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, where we'll have a big event next Tuesday called Champions of the Diamond. You want to make sure you get on out there for that. Get your tickets at lasportshall.com. Roger Clemens. You get a chance to meet Roger Clemens. You get a chance to hear about Roger Clemens. Oh, by the way, if you're not, Roger Clemens doesn't move you. How about Dylan Cruz? How about Jay Johnson? How about Todd Walker? How about Skip Bertman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Go to lasportshall.com. Get your tickets for that right now. And by the way, I've had people ask me, yes, kids are invited. It is at LeBear's, but it's upstairs in the event center above the casino floor. So under 21 is allowed. And it would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right, TK. Some big news this week. LSU football, people were wanting Matt House, the defensive coordinator, to be fired. It was one of the worst defenses LSU's had, and it was magnified by the fact that it was one of the best offenses LSU had. So if the defense was 50% better, they would have potentially been playing in a playoff. Instead, they were on out. But that said, Matt House is gone. And it's interesting. They did fire Matt House a couple days after the bowl game, as well as other defensive staff members. And a rumor is out there that he was going to stay. We've been hearing that he was going to stay. He was going to stay. And that potentially some players said to Brian Kelly, if he stays, I go, kind of thing. Like that's sort of the rumor mill with some strong sources that I'm hearing, is that was not super popular with some of the star players. And as if, maybe some guys might have went pro, some guys might have been going into the transfer portal if he had decided to return, or if they were going to keep him. And so, this day and age, man, athletes, whether it's college or pro, they're sort of more important than the coach in a lot of places, and especially if you're a coordinator. And but I think it's the right move, even though maybe Brian Kelly did it reluctantly. I think it's the right move because the last 2 years the defense just hasn't been very good, and you had to do something to shake it up.
Well, and I can totally see that with the players that they coach, because they know what's going on. Okay, these are high-level college football players, and not only would it cause some to exit, it may hurt those coming in from the portal. Okay, by all reports, they're doing good in the portal. By the way, Ronnie, I want to officially change the name of the transfer portal to free agency. Now, that's not a TK original, but other people have said it. But I looked up the definition of free agency. That is when you're in a spot to auction off your services to the highest bidder. Well, that's what these guys are doing. Whether it's Hurd, the offensive tackle, the guy that there's a running back that at Mississippi who led the team in rushing the last 2 years, was named All SEC. He's in the portal. What that tells him is he went to Lane Kiffin, says, "Hey, I need more money." Kiffin said, "No, running backs are a dime a dozen. I got to give it to wide receivers and quarterbacks." And so he's going to go auction off his services. It's not the transfer portal. It's free agency. Call it what you want. But, I read a big report I posted on my Twitter account. Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, has got a huge proposal he wants to try to enact in August to change everything dealing with NIL. You're going to give every kid a $30,000 annuity per year. It's not going to work because you can't unscramble the egg. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. The NCAA should have did this 10 years ago, not right now. It's a mess. But you better embrace it. It's like when the portal first started. Many coaches said, if you don't embrace this, you're gonna be out of a job. Your team's not gonna win games. But whether you liked it or not, that first year that it was around, you better embrace it. Well, you better embrace free agency and everything that's going on, because they can't all of a sudden. Because then you're going to get into the National Labor Relations Board. You're going to get into unionization. You're going to get into all that stuff, and that would take 20 years to resolve. So I don't see any of that stuff happening, even though it sounds good, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Regarding the Matt House situation, Tommy, there's all sorts of names being thrown around for a defensive coordinator as possibilities. I know you've got one that's a pretty popular choice that you've been hearing the name thrown around.
Yeah, Blake Baker. He's a former Tulane player who's coached. He's been at Missouri the last couple of years. Actually, was on the LSU staff under Ed Orgeron. Okay, so he was a linebacker dude when he played for the Green Wave, and his name has come up and he's on the list. If you go to Mike Scarborough, whoever, you're going to find 5, 6, 7 names, and he's on just about everybody's list. His resume is there. Again, totally up to Brian Kelly. I can confirm that he and Brian Kelly spoke Wednesday afternoon, person to person, not through an agent, not through a representative. I can guarantee you they spoke Wednesday afternoon. Now, I don't know if he ends up getting the job or not, but he is clearly on the list, like everybody has said.
The decision that Brian Kelly makes regarding this DC hire is going to be a big one because the expectation is that LSU offensively will be in good hands next year with the return of Nussmeier and many other weapons, especially that offensive line. A veteran offensive line is super important. But LSU is going to be going into 2024, first game at USC in Vegas, new DC, new OC. And the last time, I guess technically Steve Ensminger was co-offensive coordinator really in 19, but in 20 it didn't work out when they had a new OCDC. But going to be interesting to see what that hire ends up being. It's going to be very interesting in Tigerland because LSU the last 2 years, you give them a top 30 defense, Tommy, and the season's different. And I think LSU's always going to have weapons on offense, right? So it's about that defense. And look, it's not an easy gig with guys going in the portal and getting shaken down for more money, and guys going pro that probably shouldn't be going pro. I mean, it's a constant, difficult deal to handle as far as defense. But this is a giant hire for Brian Kelly, no question about it. Interesting development also about the Heisman conversation. What's your takeaway of this kind of discussion about potentially pushing the Heisman decision, balloting, voting, whatever, back a few weeks till after the whole season's done?
Well, the argument is the award goes to the best player in college football. Well, bowl games could help decide the best player in college football. Now, I'm not saying Jaden Daniels should not have won it. He won it. He deserved it. I would have voted for him if I held a ballot. But Michael Penix, is on fire right now. Of course, he came in second. He got a lot of votes, okay, and came in second. But he is playing in front of people. Jaden Daniels is not. And he's going to play again Monday night. If he tears it up Monday night, let's say he throws 410 yards, 3 touchdowns, runs for 1, that argument's going to come up. Like, why can't they wait till next week to give out the Heisman Trophy? I kind of agree with that, because you could have, if you had a really close race, which it was, and then both guys got to play in the bowl game, one could win it, one could not win it, one could fall back in the pack. So I don't know if they're going to do that, but I'd be in favor of changing the Heisman, let it come out maybe the week before the Super Bowl, do some hype like that. And, and then truly have the best player in college football. And again, I'm not saying Daniel shouldn't have won it. I'm not saying Penix is better. He's damn good. He's better than I thought. And that's what other people are seeing the same thing I did, especially those who didn't watch him play a lot, like me. He's damn good. I'll go with it. He's the second best player in the country. But Jaden Daniels, especially what he did in that Florida game, showed me he was the best player in college football.
Well, here's the benefit to, look, if you're a college, yes, give away the Heisman in end of January because it would force, like if the Heisman Trophy was going to be the last voting was going to be January 2nd. Let's say they take out the championship game. Let's say, okay, look, regular season game, bowl game, and then we vote. Well, then Jane Daniels probably plays in the bowl game, right? Because he knows I got a chance to win the Heisman if I go out there and have a good game in that bowl game. And if you win the Heisman, it changes your life. It doesn't matter what Jayden Daniels does in professional football. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He can make a living just being a Heisman Trophy winner, just showing up and signing autographs, going to golf tournaments, whatever the case may be. And so if you want to make sure better players play in the bowl games, if you're a collegeist, you want to make sure your star Heisman Trophy, if you're a bowl game, you want to make sure the Heisman Trophy winner plays in the bowl game, then you push it back. That said, what if the best player in the country isn't on a team that qualifies for a bowl game? Do you hold it against him if some guy goes and rushes for 2,500 yards and he can't even be in consideration? Obviously he's going to be in consideration, but he's going to miss out on an opportunity. I don't know if there's a perfect way, Tommy, no matter what you did, if you had the voting after the national championship, and then all of a sudden Penix gets 2 extra games over Jaden Daniels, because there's no doubt if you were voting today, Penix would probably win it.
Well, and the stats go by per game, and Daniels is still ahead of him per game, but his total numbers are higher because he's played more games. I go back many years ago when Steve McNair was quarterbacking at Alcorn State. Arguably, he was the best college football player in the country that year. And if you looked at his tape, you looked at his numbers, they were amazing. But he was in the SWAC, nothing against the SWAC, but that's where he was, and he wasn't going to win the Heisman. I know he got some votes that year. So, it's supposed to be the best college football player. And I think, but you see, you got 12 teams in the playoffs next year. So, it'd have to be a late January thing. Change everything in the world changes every day. Heisman Trophy, Heisman Trust, that's who gives it out in New York. Move it to the end of January, and try to kick it up a notch. I do agree that, when they say winning the Heisman Trophy is worth $15 million to you the rest of your life, because, look, Danny Werfel won the Heisman Trophy, right? Cup of coffee with the New Orleans Saints, was not a good NFL quarterback. He's in the commercials. He was on the stage the other night, last month in New York, and he can get, promotion deals because he can always walk in there and say, hey, I want a Heisman Trophy. I want you to drink this drink, or I want you to eat this food. I want you to come to Tremonti's, whatever it might be. So, it's a money thing. Follow the money. Money drives it all.
Yeah. And, look, Penix, to his credit, he balled out against Texas. And look, they're a 4.5-point favorite right now of the Washington Huskies for the Monday night.
No, they're a dog.
A dog. 4.5 dog. That's what I meant. Against Michigan in the national championship game on Monday. And if he goes and wins that game, he's got a legitimate argument that, hey, man, I should have been the Heisman Trophy winner. That said, did you see, Tommy, out of Houston that the prices are a little lower than they thought, for the national championship game, because these two teams are having to travel so far from Washington, from Michigan, that doesn't have the local cachet. The folks in Texas aren't so fired up about Michigan versus Washington in the national championship game. The ticket sales are fine. I mean, it's a sellout, don't get me wrong. But on the StubHub and SeatGeek and all that, the tickets aren't as expensive as they've been in years past.
Well, I go back to when they said that would happen when Alabama played Texas in the Rose Bowl with a 2-team BCS playoff, but that was a sellout. The Rose Bowl holds more seats than the stadium in Houston does. But again, you don't have a Southern team, and I don't mean SEC, although that's a fact. You don't have that South flavor. South football is the hotbed in the South, and you don't have a team from the South. And these two teams need to be there. They're both 14-0. I hope it's a whale of a game, but that's part of it. That, like you said, it'll be a sellout, but on the secondary market, it's not going to all of a sudden be $2,000 or $4,000 or whatever to get a seat. If it were Alabama versus Texas, it'd be secondary market would be through the roof. But it's not going to be with.
To give you an idea, I just looked it up on SeatGeek. That if you wanted to get a ticket, the cheapest tickets out there with fees and everything included, you can get in the building for $1,164. Okay, $1,164. You may be saying, "Damn, that's expensive. What are you talking about?" No, well, it's just that they're more usually, right? And there's plenty of seats available in that $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 range. And to put that in perspective, when the New Orleans Saints played in the Super Bowl in 2009, technically they played in the Super Bowl in February 2010, was the actual game date, but it was the 2009 season. Fees and all that my brother and I had tickets in the upper deck. Okay. These were the Bob Uecker seats. And they were with fees and everything, $1,400, $1,500 a piece. So, and that was what, 13 years ago, and that was a Super Bowl. So, and here we are, 13 years later, and you can go to a national championship game, the Super Bowl of college football, for 1,100, 1,200 bucks. And I want to say when LSU played for the national championship in '08, technically '07 season, '08 game, I can remember, tickets being, you're going to spend 1,200 bucks. You're going to spend 1,500 bucks, to get in there, and those weren't great seats. So that gives you an idea that the prices are down for this national championship game in Houston.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think that's going to change between now and Monday night. I'm looking forward to the game. Again, I hope it's a fun, entertaining game, and I think it will be. I think it'll be a lot of points, and it could come down to that last possession, or somebody makes a crucial mistake late. I mean, I think that's how this game's going to be. I don't see either team blowing the other one out.
We will be at Calandro's tomorrow for Sports Shorts Radio, which is 10 to noon on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. We'll be talking about the Saints as well. Saints, it all comes down to this, Tommy, and I have a feeling that the ghost of Jim Mora is going to be echoing in our ears come Sunday night, and that is woulda, coulda, shoulda. I think the Saints are going to beat the Falcons, and then I think the Saints are not going to get in the playoffs because a couple things have to happen. The Saints have to win, and then, of course, Tampa Bay has to lose to Carolina. That's very unlikely. The Saints can win. Tampa Bay wins. They win the division. Saints can get the wild card. If Seattle loses to Arizona, oh, by the way, Arizona just beat Philadelphia, and Green Bay has to lose to Chicago, the Bears, and Fields is playing pretty well at quarterback. So all of that has to happen. It's not going to happen. And the Saints are going to be looking back with this 8-9 record and going, woulda, coulda, shoulda, because there was 3 games that they should have won, including the biggest snafu, Game 3, when they're 2-0 in the season, and they're up 17-0 in the fourth quarter against a winless Green Bay Packer team. And Jordan Love at quarterback, who they're questioning at the time if he's going to be the future of the franchise or not. Doesn't look like it's working out. Saints blow a 17-point lead. Groupie misses a 45-yard field goal at the horn, and that's going to keep the Saints out of the playoffs, Tommy.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing about Sunday. When the Saints are playing the Falcons, the Buccaneers are playing the Panthers at the same time. They're both 12 noon kickoffs. So there's going to be some scoreboard watching. I don't care if you're going to be in the Dome, you're watching it on your TV, or you're at LeBare's Casino watching it. It's going to be scoreboard watching to see how the other team is doing and, play that out. I mean, that's going to be part of Sunday at 12 noon.
So what you're going to know at the end of the Saints game is if they win the division or not, okay? Because Saints and Tampa play at the same time. But at 3:30 is when Seattle plays Arizona and when the Bears play the Packers. So if you don't get lucky and the Saints win and the Bucs lose, then you got to sweat out that 3:30 games to see what happens. You need both of them to lose. You need the Saints to win, and you need both Green Bay and Seattle to lose. I just don't think that's going to happen. And then you're going to be this close. You're going to be a Mark Ingram stepping out of bounds against the Tampa Bay Bucs instead of getting the first down like you were last year. And then you're going to be a groupie kick or a blown 17-point lead against the Green Bay, keeping you out of the playoffs. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, and then, you can have some fun on Sunday with all of that.
All right, reminder, Tuesday, January 9th, Champions of the Diamond. It's a Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame fundraiser. Get your tickets now at lasportshall.com. That's right. Roger Clemens will be there. You get a chance to hear from him, meet him. It's a panel discussion with College World Series legend coaches Skip Bertman, Paul Maneri, Jay Johnson, Mike Bianco, Ben McDonald will join them on stage for the first round. And then the second round, we will put up the players, Roger Clemens, Todd Walker, Dylan Cruz. We're going to Will Harris is going to be in the house with us. A World Series champion. Ryan Terrio, who won a World Series in pros and in college. You can bring kids. It's an unbelievable event. Get your tickets at lasportshall.com. Oh, by the way, Kevin Gosman's going to be there. Rick Green's going to be there. We're going to have Andrew Stevenson, Will Clark, and many others that you'll hear from as well. So it's just going to be an unbelievable night. Food, open bar galore included. We're going to have a band playing afterwards. So it's going to be an awesome night. 6 o'clock, doors open. Food and drinks start pouring at 6. 7 o'clock is when the panel discussion begins, and then the event goes until 10 o'clock at night with the band playing until 10. So get your tickets now, and we hope to see you at lasportshall.com. Help support the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Tell us about Tremonti's on the way out, TK.
Hey, deer processing, people dropping them off like crazy. They're the best in the business with the deer processing. Got a special Bella Gloss Mardi Gras wine box. 3 different wines, purple, green, and gold labels, not the wine's not colored that way. That's a big special now. Sazerac Rye, single barrel pick. They've got 3 cases, more than 3, there's 30 cases of that in here. Everything you need for this weekend, everything you need for the month, the championship game Monday, Super Bowl around the corner, Mardi Gras around the corner, crawfish are coming soon, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I'm going to say this, I say it every now and then. If you have not stop by and come in this place, please do it in the next week or so when you have time. When you come in here, you'll realize how much of everything they have. Not just meat and seafood. They got a lot of other stuff here. So check out Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. It's on Jefferson Highway, not far off of Airline and where Parkview Baptist Church and School is. Mike and the staff do a great job. Hope to see you soon.
All right. We'll hopefully see you at LeBear's on Tuesday, and a great place to watch the games over at LeBear's. We will see you on Monday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow 10 to noon for Sports Shorts Radio on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Please like and share this video, and have a great one, everybody.